Ladies and gentlemen, leaders, dreamers, doers, listen closely, because today is not just another day. Today is the day you stop running from your purpose and start running toward it. We live in a world obsessed with success, obsessed with results, titles, and outcomes. But here's the truth no one tells you. Success is not a destination. It's a byproduct of clarity, of consistency, of courage. People don't burn out because they're working too hard. They burn out because they've forgotten why they started. They've lost their sense of meaning, purpose. That is the fuel that never runs dry. Think of any great leader, any remarkable innovator. What sets them apart is not talent, it's not intelligence, it's their belief, their relentless commitment to something bigger than themselves. They didn't wake up with all the answers, but they did wake up with the resolve to ask better questions. Why do you do what you do? Why does it matter? Why should anyone care? These are not abstract philosophical puzzles. These are your compass, your direction, your spark. Too many of us are waiting for permission, for certainty, for the perfect moment. But you will wait your entire life if you're waiting for the stars to align. Leaders don't wait. Leaders decide, and that decision, that is the moment everything changes. When you stop chasing approval and start chasing purpose. When you stop trying to fit in and start standing out. When you realize the goal isn't to be the best in the world, it's to be the best for the world. We live in a society where the pressure to perform, to achieve, and to be constantly on has become the norm. Deadlines, metrics, expectations, they all pile on day after day. People are working harder than ever, and yet fulfillment feels more distant than ever before. That's because somewhere along the way, we traded purpose for pressure. We stopped asking why we do what we do and started obsessing over what we have to show for it. But here's the truth. Pressure without purpose is poison. It drains you, breaks you, and leaves you hollow. When you operate without a clear sense of purpose, every challenge feels heavier. Every obstacle feels like a reason to quit. You begin to question whether all the effort is even worth it. And when your only motivator is external, status, money, validation, you become trapped in a cycle of endless comparison and temporary satisfaction. You start measuring your worth by things you can't control. And that's when burnout creeps in, not because you worked too hard, but because you forgot why you started working in the first place. But everything shifts when you return to purpose. Purpose is the inner compass that guides you when things get difficult. It's the quiet reason behind the noise. It's what helps you persist when others give up. When your actions are aligned with a deeper reason, pressure doesn't disappear, but it becomes meaningful. It becomes something you grow through, not something that grinds you down. Purpose gives pain a reason. It transforms fatigue into fuel, and purpose isn't some grand, unreachable idea. It's not reserved for the few. It's in the small moments, helping someone feel seen, building something that matters, solving a problem that makes life better for others. It's waking up and knowing that what you do contributes to something greater than yourself. It's the clarity that comes when you ask yourself, not what am I supposed to do today, but what am I here to do for someone else today. When you reconnect with purpose, work becomes more than a task. It becomes a contribution. Your energy shifts, your focus sharpens, you start to care more, not out of obligation, but out of alignment. You stop dragging yourself through your days and start showing up with intention. Suddenly, pressure doesn't feel like a threat. It becomes an opportunity to prove to yourself that your cause is stronger than your fear. And yes, the world will still demand results. Yes, the pressure won't go away. But with purpose as your foundation, those demands lose their power to define you. You define yourself by the impact you choose to make, by the people you choose to serve, and by the values you refuse to compromise. Purpose isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. It's the difference between being busy and being fulfilled. It's not about how hard you work, it's about how deeply you believe in why you work. Most people are waiting. Waiting for clarity, waiting for permission, waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, the perfect alignment of circumstances before they make a move. It sounds reasonable on the surface. Who doesn't want to be prepared? Who doesn't want to feel certain before leaping into the unknown? But the uncomfortable truth is that waiting is often just fear in disguise. It's the fear of failure dressed up as logic. It's the fear of judgment disguised as caution. And while you wait, life moves on. Opportunities come and go. Time doesn't pause until you feel ready. It just keeps going, indifferent to your hesitation. The difference between people who lead and people who follow isn't brilliance. It isn't experience. It's the willingness to decide, to act in uncertainty, to commit when it would be easier to stall. There will never be a moment when you feel completely prepared. There will never be a day when every question is answered. But action is what generates momentum. Decision is what creates direction. You can plan forever, but nothing changes until you make a move. Indecision is exhausting. It drains energy because it leaves you in limbo. Your mind keeps running in circles, imagining every possible outcome, calculating every possible risk. But all that thinking leads nowhere without execution. Progress doesn't begin with knowing. It begins with deciding. Even the wrong decision can teach you more than standing still. Every step you take gives you feedback. Every mistake sharpens your judgment. Every win builds your confidence, but none of that happens if you stay stuck in neutral. There's a myth that leaders always know exactly what to do. They don't. What they know is that moving forward imperfectly is better than standing still with perfect intentions. They understand that growth lives on the other side of risk. They embrace the discomfort that comes with not knowing because they believe in their ability to figure it out as they go. Deciding isn't about arrogance. It's about trust. Trust in your values. Trust in your ability to adapt. Trust that even if you stumble, you will rise stronger. And let's be honest, how many times in your life have you waited too long? How many times did the fear of what if stop you from discovering what could have been? Looking back, the things you regret most aren't usually the mistakes. They're the chances you didn't take, the words you didn't say, the leap you didn't make because you were too busy waiting for certainty that never came. The people who change their lives, who shape their futures, aren't the ones who have it all figured out. They're the ones who decide to begin. They understand that clarity comes from action, that confidence is earned through doing. That momentum is built, not granted. They don't wait for the world to tell them it's time. They decide that now is as good a time as any, and in doing so, they reclaim their power. Belief is the invisible force that turns ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. It's not something you can measure on a chart or quantify in a spreadsheet, but it is the single most powerful driver behind every lasting achievement. Belief gives people the courage to begin, the resilience to endure, and the vision to keep going when everything around them says stop. You don't have to be the smartest in the room, the most talented, or the most experienced. What you need is an unshakable belief in what you stand for and why it matters. That belief is the foundation upon which every great movement, every meaningful innovation, and every impactful mission is built. When you believe in something deeply, you stop working from a place of obligation and start operating from a place of ownership. You stop asking, "What do I need to do today?" and start asking, "What difference can I make today?" There's a significant mental shift that happens when you're driven by belief. You become more focused, more committed, more creative. You stop looking for shortcuts because you're not in it for convenience. You're in it for purpose. Challenges stop feeling like dead ends and start looking like detours. Failure stops being personal and starts being part of the process. And belief isn't about blind optimism. It's not about pretending everything will be perfect. It's about knowing that even when things are far from perfect, your mission still matters. It's about showing up with conviction when things are unclear, uncertain, or unfair. It's the internal certainty that what you're building is worth the struggle, that even if no one else sees the vision yet, it's still worth chasing. That's what separates those who lead from those who follow. Leaders move forward fueled by belief, not by applause. People are drawn to belief. They're drawn to passion, conviction, and authenticity. No one follows someone who is half-hearted or unsure of themselves, But when you speak, act, and lead from a place of belief, people feel it. It's magnetic. It inspires trust. It gives others permission to believe too. Your belief becomes the spark that lights up their own sense of purpose. And that's when real leadership happens, not when you're commanding from the front, but when you're creating belief in others simply by showing how deeply you believe in something yourself. You won't always have external proof. In fact, sometimes all the evidence will point to failure. The metrics won't be impressive. The progress won't be obvious. But belief is what keeps you moving anyway. It's what allows you to stay consistent when results are slow. It's what keeps your head up when doors close and setbacks hit. Belief gives you a center, a sense of inner alignment that doesn't waver with circumstances. It keeps you focused not just on what you're doing, but why you're doing it. And that deeper reason becomes your compass, your power, and your message to the world. There comes a point in every person's journey when they are faced with a choice: stay silent and fit the mold, or speak up and own their truth. Most people choose silence, not because they have nothing to say, but because they've been conditioned to believe their voice doesn't matter, or worse, that it will cost them something to be heard. And the truth is, it might. Owning your voice means risking judgment. It means standing out when it would be easier to blend in. But progress has never come from silence. Change has never come from people who played it safe. Your voice, your perspective, your story, your conviction is one of the most powerful tools you have. When you own it, you don't just find your power. You give others permission to find theirs. It starts with recognizing that your voice is unique. No one else has lived your life. No one else has seen the world through your eyes. No one else carries your exact combination of experiences, values, and insights. That uniqueness is not a liability. It's your leverage. It's what allows you to contribute something original to the world. But too many people waste their potential trying to sound like everyone else, trying to conform to expectations, trying to fit into spaces that were never meant to contain who they truly are. They shrink, they edit, they censor themselves, not because they're inauthentic people, but because they've forgotten that authenticity is their greatest asset. To own your voice is to speak even when your voice shakes. It's to show up fully without apology. It's to say what you mean even if your words challenge the status quo. It's about aligning what you believe with how you behave. That kind of congruence is rare and people notice it. They may not always agree with you, but they will respect you, because authenticity commands respect in a way that performance never can. When you show people who you really are, you invite trust, you model courage. You create connection. Owning your voice also means taking responsibility for your influence. Whether you realize it or not, your words carry weight. They shape how others think, feel, and act. So when you speak, do it with intention. Don't just add noise, bring meaning. Don't just repeat what's popular, say what's true. Use your voice not just to promote yourself, but to lift others, to challenge injustice, to inspire action. Because leadership isn't just about being in charge. It's about using your voice to serve something greater than your ego. And make no mistake, there will be resistance. People will tell you to tone it down, to stay in your lane, to not make waves. But leadership is not about being liked. It's about being real. It's about staying rooted in your truth even when it's uncomfortable. Your voice won't be for everyone. That's okay. It's not supposed to be. But it will be for someone. And to that person, your courage could be the permission they've been waiting for to speak up to.